Hi, guys. I wanted to bring to you today an interview that I did with my friend Mike Shoreman back in August. He and I met originally on the Ramsay syndrome Facebook group, and I just wanted to get his perspective on his journey with RHS and everything that now has opened up for him in life and just what he's doing with it all. So let's get this thing started. So, thank you so much, Mike, for
No,
joining me today.
thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really
Yeah,
excited
so
to spend some time with you.
likewise, because it's been a while. So,
I know.
just talk to me a little bit about like just your journey with Ramsay syndrome, the diagnosis, the recovery.
Yeah. So I used to be a professional paddleboarder, and I did surfing, and I had my own business in Toronto, and it was a successful business. I loved what I did. And I just come back from California um, in November of 2018, and um, and I remember like I just got this excruciating pain in my ear, and I went to a walk-in clinic, and they asked me, the standard questions like, "Have you been traveling?" Like all this kind of stuff, and I said, "Yeah, I have been traveling. I was just in California." And they said, "Oh, well, what were you what were you doing in California?" And I said, I was surfing and I was paddleboarding. And so they said, "Oh, well, you must have like a dirty water in the ear
Mm.
infection." Um, so so I went home, and the pain progressed and it got worse. Um, and and then my balance started to be affected. So I went to a hospital, and I told them everything. Um, you know, and they sent me home, put me
Mm.
on, I'm on antibiotics, and then a couple days later, I'm staying at my mom's house, and I come downstairs, and she just kind of guides me, like I woke up that day, and as soon as like my foot hit the ground, I knew it was different. I
Mm.
knew, like, I staggered like a drunk man to the door, and like I'm fumbling with the doorknob trying to get it open, and things are kind of foggy,
Mm.
and I was just like, this isn't normal. And going down the stairs was really hard, and my mom sees me, and she just kind of guides me in front of the mirror, and then I see that my face has dropped, that the nerves have dropped on the right side of my face. I think some people it's more significant, or it shows more. And for me, um, like it was scary. Like it looked really scary what was happening. And she said, "We need to get you to a hospital right now." So we went to a different hospital, and I was throwing up that morning. I was throwing up the night before. Um, and and we get into the hospital, and and they said, "We're going to put you on an IV for dehydration." And they asked me questions,
Okay.
because obviously, like, I was throwing up a
Well,
lot.
yeah, but I guess did they know what to do with you? I guess.
No, because they still just thought it was like a dirty water in
Oh
the ear
my.
infection. But
Wow.
so what I've come to learn is that there's a thing called anchoring within the medical profession, when doctors look at past medical records,
Mm-hmm.
and they anchor their thoughts or their
Yes.
diagnosis to whatever's previously been said, because it can be brought up. And that's what appeared to be happening. So the tests weren't run, and I was eventually, they said, we're gonna, like, they hydrated me, and I was sent home, and they said, "We're going to send you home on, you're gonna have the IV in you at home, like a medication, and we're going to send a home care nurse to come and teach you how to do that, and like to refill it and to turn it on and to operate
Yeah.
it." So they set me up with home care.
Mhm.
So they sent me home, and the nurse came, and And then she came the next day and she said, you know, you don't look good. Like you need to be in a hospital.
Yeah.
Um, so we went to a third different
Oh my.
hospital. And this is
Wow.
all in a period of like, you know, 5-6 days. And
And there's been no prednisone, no antivirals, nothing given to
no,
you.
no,
My goodness. Okay.
yeah. So we finally get to the third hospital, and they do run tests. Finally, they do a CT scan with contrast. They do
Yeah.
blood tests, and then the results come back that that it's this thing called Ramsay syndrome. And at that point, I'm so exhausted. I'm so sick. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
just mentally done that I'm just relieved that
Mm-hmm.
my words were like, can we just take this IV out of my arm? Like I don't even
Yeah.
care about the rest at this
Mm-hmm.
point. Like I just don't want to feel this way if it's not working,
Mm-hmm.
and what you're saying is telling me that it's not working. So from there it was, you know, he was very good, that doctor. He said, you know, you're going to come see me at my clinic, and we're going to get you on this path, and we're going to start getting you you know, the medical attention that you need. But he was even surprised.
What were the biggest challenges that you faced then while recovering? Because this is like a pretty intense ordeal, to say
Yeah,
the least, right?
yeah, yeah. So the biggest challenges for me were, you know, moving.
Yeah.
Um, you know, getting from the couch to like upstairs and having a just simple stuff like having a bath.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I've said I've compared it to being on a carousel,
Mm-hmm.
the vertigo, like
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
spun around, and being spun around really fast. And that's what I felt like when I'd have a bath and I'd wash my hair and I'd go back and I'd
Mm.
suddenly start like spinning around.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd come up and I'd be sick, and then I'd just have to have another bath again. It was awful. Um, so that, and the exhaustion itself was a lot. I don't think I've ever been so tired
Yeah.
before. I was you know, a professional. I was in sports.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I spent 9 to 10 hours on the water every day.
Mm.
And suddenly, you know, I need to have like 6 to 8 naps, like in a day.
Yeah.
And just the mental journey um, was really tough.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken a little bit about it. I'm about to speak about it a lot more. You know, how dark it can get
Yeah.
when stuff like this
Mm-hmm.
happens,
Yeah.
and there's very little hope.
And there's
And
a
what?
lot of people feel that way.
Yeah,
They don't know where to turn,
yeah,
you know?
and what the loss
Mm.
and the grief
Yeah.
from that loss
Mm-hmm.
can do to a person, and where it can mentally take them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So like this happened in November 2018. So on, you know, beginning of April, like in the first couple days, you know, we finally had that appointment with the specialist, and they said, you know, the reality of your, like I already knew in my head, but hearing from somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
that just said, you know, like your life is going to be very different. Like you're being around the water with this condition is going to be really hard for you. It's going to make you sick, and it's just not a reality. Um, and and that was heartbreaking. And then he said other things like, you know, being like flying on a plane
Yeah.
will present challenges sometimes, and being in cars for long road trips, and he said, you know, this is going to change things.
Mm-hmm.
And and that sent me into a downward spiral that started like, you know, that day. Well,
Yeah.
it had already had, like, the depression was already there, but then it just got worse.
Yeah.
Um, and it was like the catalyst for a lot of destruction.
I guess fast forward, how did you learn how to manage all of that? Like, I mean, I know it was difficult.
Yeah, so I got mental health treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of really big knocks back to back from different doctors,
Okay.
and I won't share all of what happened
Yeah, yeah,
here,
that's
but
fine.
it is part of my story.
Yeah.
But I did seek out
Mm-hmm.
mental health treatment,
Yeah.
and I was seeing a therapist, and I was also seeing, a counselor specializing in crisis situations,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they classified it as, where I was mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and through talking about it and sharing what I was going through in the Ramsay Hunt Facebook
Mm-hmm.
support
Mm-hmm.
group, and
Yeah.
with, people that I would let in, like I was really cut off from a lot of people, but the ones who I did share with were really supportive,
Mm-hmm.
and from sharing that, it really helped me emotionally heal,
Mm-hmm.
and it put me on a different path.
And like,
Um,
what tools would you say you kind of utilize now in your life that really help with like self-care and centering where you are in the midst of everything that's happening?
yeah, so I do a lot of journaling.
Mm.
I write down. I do like a gratitude list.
Awesome.
What I'm grateful for, because even now, like I think, like it's coming up on 24 months,
Mm-hmm.
almost 2 years. So,
Yeah.
but even now, with all that's happened, and there's been a lot of good things to come from it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still days that are really hard, and there are still moments in there are still hard moments in
Yeah.
good days.
Mm.
So I think it's really important to sit down and take note of what you are appreciative of and what you are grateful for,
Mm.
because it makes a huge difference mentally.
Yeah.
To just write it down, and it's one thing to just think it, but it's another thing to like write it down and to
Yeah.
look at your words and kind of digest everything.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy being outside. I think that's been a huge thing for me. Um, just being outside. Even when all this happened to me, like you're in Ottawa, um,
Montreal. Montreal. Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah.
When all of this happened, it was November.
Mm.
It's not an ideal situation
No.
to be
No.
outside,
Yeah.
um, but um, just to be outside and breathe the air,
Mm.
and take in the noises of the birds and life,
Yeah.
and just it makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to get down to the water as much as possible, and just whether I'm on it a little bit, or just sitting by it, I find it really therapeutic and calming.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of like your lifeline in a lot of
Yeah.
ways before, and the fact that to me that it still can be, I think is really really beautiful. Like,
Yeah. No. Yeah. So like the business is the paddleboarding business itself is done. Like
mhm.
that's like I think the doctors weren't wrong in that. I can do it for short periods now that I've worked. Like I got on a board last May, and I lasted 3 minutes sitting down,
I
and
remember that.
I
Yeah.
was dizzy,
Hmm.
and then that 3 minutes turned into 5 minutes sitting down, and then that turned into seven, and then I stood up for a minute, and then that
Great.
1 minute became two, became three, and now I'm up for I can stand up on a board for like if I'm not going hard and not
Yeah.
being aggressive, I can stand up for about 15, 20 minutes. Um, and I can be on the water in total maybe an hour-ish. But professionally, it looks very different. But I'm, you know, at the core of, there was a point in my story where I decided to turn my hobby of paddleboarding into a business,
Hmm.
and that was because I loved it,
Yeah.
and that love never left.
Hmm.
So the fact that I can still do that sometimes when I feel good,
Hmm.
um, that's made a really big difference,
Yeah.
and helped me process a lot of that.
Hmm.
So
And like, so now I know you entered into the Speaker Slam in Toronto.
yeah.
So what kind of drove you to take that step and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, so I was actually visiting a friend.
Mhm.
She saw my paddleboarding business take off, and she was very supportive, and she just looked at me like in the state that I was in, and she said, "So, what are you going to do now?" And I
Mhm.
said, "What do you mean, what am I going to do?" And she said, "I know who you are. You're not done." And I was like, well, I don't know about that right now. Like, I'm just kind of taking it easy. And she said, well, I'm going to send you some information for this thing called Speaker Slam. It's Canada's largest inspirational public speaking competition, and I want you to have a look at it. And so I did. I went home and I looked. And these are professional speakers who have done like TED Talks,
Mhm.
and they travel the world speaking. And I thought, well, I'll apply. I'll see. Maybe, who knows. And then I found out that they wanted me to compete on they were doing a competition on courage,
Mhm.
and I had to design a 5-minute talk on courage, and I could speak about anything that I wanted to, and I decided to speak about Ramsay Hunt syndrome, and what I had been through mentally and physically,
Mhm.
and give like a positive message coming out of it. Hopefully, it was going to be a room of 300 people, and I just wanted to hopefully make
Mhm.
three, four, five people smile, and what happened was amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, and it just like exploded. Like, I'll leave the link in the description box about for the video itself. But
yeah,
yeah, like, I mean, so the reception was wow.
yeah. Like, yeah, I got a standing ovation. Like, there were 10 speakers that night. I got a standing ovation. We all hope that we win things. Like,
Mhm.
that's human nature, but we don't really expect it. But when it happened, it was wow. Like,
Mhm.
I just won this thing. Like, that's amazing. Like, and it was pretty special. I had a lot of my family and my friends there, and I felt like the room was really cheering me on. Parts of that speech were quite hard to deliver. There's some comedy, but I put that in there specifically because there was
Yeah.
dark content,
Mhm.
and I wanted to break it up to make
Yeah.
it sure that you know it was well received and people enjoyed it. And like a couple days later, the speech went viral for the first time.
Mhm.
Ashton Kutcher put it on his platform, and it got tons of views. And then the Power of Positivity put it on their platform, and yeah, it's had millions of views now. And I hear from people with different chronic conditions, not just Ramsay Hunt syndrome, but people all around the world who are struggling with physical
Yeah.
and mental health, and hearing some of what they've gone through.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that you're not so alone in your story as you might think, and that we're
Mm-hmm.
all somewhat connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, like,
Yeah.
this whole book situation, which is coming out, when's the official like date that it's?
So the official launch is October the 12th.
Okay.
Um, but all systems are go, and it's coming fast.
Yeah.
Pre-sales are up this September. Pre-sales are up this September.
Awesome.
They're up, and everything is all systems go. So yeah, no, it's exciting. It's online on Amazon and on in different bookstores,
Mm-hmm.
and there's different versions, not different versions, but different, there's
Like
Kindle, there's
mediums? Yeah.
Kindle, there's paperback. We are going to come out with an audiobook eventually.
Okay.
I never thought that I would write a book. I never thought that I would write a book about the journey that I have been on.
Mm-hmm.
And that people would be so interested
Yeah.
and so engaged and wanting to be a part of it and its
Mm-hmm.
success. And yeah, it's been a really beautiful process. And just like writing the speech, I found writing the speech very cathartic and
Yeah.
releasing. I found that this has been really helpful
Mm-hmm.
in similar ways
Mm.
in help processing.
Yeah.
Um, it takes a long time to process traumas,
Yep.
and whether they're little t or big T
Mm-hmm.
traumas. um, it takes a long time, and I feel like now with the release of this book and the completion of it, um, I feel like I'm on the other side of my journey with this, that I
Yeah.
can speak about it in a
Mm-hmm.
healthy
Yeah.
and positive way,
Mm-hmm.
that can actually help people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
And is that like one of your hopes, that obviously this would like just help people where they're at, to know they're not alone? What else? What else are your?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the subtitle of the book is From Victim to Thriving Survivor.
Mm.
Um, and and we're all a victim of our circumstances, should we choose to be. Um, and and at some point in my journey, as in your journey,
Mm-hmm.
you mentally flip the script
Yeah.
of what you're going through,
Mm-hmm.
how you are in it. And it's not to say that this everything's better, but um, but we're not where we were.
No. Yeah.
And and um, and just because you have a chronic condition doesn't mean that you can't thrive, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that you can't do great things and help other people
Yeah.
and make impact. And yeah, that's what this past year has really taught me. So
I think it's amazing. I think I'm so excited for where just life is going to take you. I think you have no idea. I think none of us have any idea, but I think like in your case, I just think like, bam, this is going to launch you into just new territory that I think it's going to surprise you a ton. Cause you've
yeah,
already experienced a lot of surprises just in the last year,
I
but
know.
I think you're in for a ton more. And
Yeah,
like, I'm just psyched to see where life is going to take you, because I think it's going to be even more overwhelmingly great than it already has been.
thank
I
you.
believe that for you. I believe that for you. I
Yeah,
see it. So,
thank you. No, it's been a whirlwind. Like, if you think about, like, when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed with Ramsay Hunt, May 2017, and then I was hospitalized for a week,
Okay.
September 1st, with functional neurological disorder.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
So it's
May
yeah.
2017, and we're in August 2020, and look where you are now. Like you're working,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing this. Um, can you even imagine doing this back then? Like it's
No, I wouldn't.
crazy.
No, like I didn't have a knowledge of chronic illness, chronic
Yeah,
conditions, health issues that happen that are
yeah,
just so random that people don't even know what we're talking about, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like, and then now it's like I can, I'm sure you feel the same way. You can speak to things in a totally different way now because you've experienced it.
Yeah.
So there's weight to what you say now in this area because
Mhm.
you know what it's like to live it. You lived it,
Yeah, yeah.
and now, I think in both of our cases, we've been able to, like you say, flip the script and
Hmm.
just reframe everything
Yeah, yeah,
because we've had to reconstruct our lives, right?
yeah,
So it's like in the reconstructing, like who do we
yeah,
become? We can decide who
yeah,
we become. Essentially, we
yeah,
have to redesign it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
why not make it
Like,
interesting?
uh, like I'm not gonna say, like a lot of things fell into place for me
Mhm.
that, like I was, you know, but I also fought for it.
Well, yeah,
Like I
yeah, of
also
course.
fought, like I fought to get on that stage. I
Yeah,
fought through that speech. I, you know, I became a media personality
yeah,
on TV and radio this past year, and that was, you don't just send an email. Like that was tons of work to get those
yeah.
spots and to get that exposure and the book development and all of that. We have to work towards things that we really really want.
Mhm.
And if you want to do well, and if you want to rebound from this, um, push yourself
Mhm.
as far as you mentally and physically can go,
Yeah,
um, while also being, I don't like the word mindful because I think it's overused,
yeah.
but being
Like
conscientious
conscious, yeah,
of what your body and limit of what you can do right now, and
yeah,
just yeah.
yeah. I'm with
So
you. I mean, yeah, because I think, like even for me now, even though I can work like a full-time schedule, I
yeah,
will still have like at the end of the day, if my mouth starts to hurt, like with nerve
yeah,
pain and stuff, then I
yeah,
know, okay, I need to just
done.
rest and that's it.
Yeah,
And like I don't have to
yeah,
feel bad about saying no to different things because I've already done what I needed to do. And
yeah,
like, and it's okay to
yeah,
like recalibrate and do all those things that you have to.
yeah,
And I think you
yeah,
have to, I think what's one thing that's good is that because we've experienced difficulty with our health, we now have a
hmm,
better understanding of what our body tries to tell us. And we
yeah,
actually, the fact that we listen to it, I think goes a long way for us in the end.
yeah,
At least I
yeah.
hope it does
Yeah,
because
yeah.
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I'm going a million miles an hour right
I don't know how
now.
you're doing it. I mean, like, I'm
It's
like,
it's
whoo.
like rah. Like
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that I've outsourced a team
Okay. So I was wondering how
to.
you did all that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got a great support system with this book. I've got people who are I've got people working
Yeah.
on that. So really I just have to step in and oversee that
Hmm.
and make the executive calls on it, which is weird, but that in itself, like meetings like this with you and podcasts
Yeah.
and we have a meeting about book cover design, and then
Hmm.
I'm going to be in a magazine, so I need to answer all the questions.
That's
So
awesome.
like you have to pace
Oh
yourself
yeah.
and give yourself time
Yeah.
to recover physically from that, because otherwise you're just burn yourself out and you put yourself in a position where you're potentially going in the same direction as you were when you went into this in 2018 for me, 2017 for you.
Yep. Well, I think we'll leave it there for today. But I mean, we could go another hour with this. But I guess for the video's sake, I will leave it there for now. And if I have other questions, then maybe I'll have you back. So
I would love that. I would love to hang out with you anytime.